Chip, I'm thinking about getting my aunt a new computer, and I heard of something called a Chromebook. Would that be good for her?
Well, maybe. So what kind of things will she use the computer for?
Email, web browsing, and maybe taking pictures.
Okay, so kind of common basic usage.
Yes.
But what kind of computer do you use?
I use a Mac.
Okay, and when you're browsing the internet, what program do you use?
I use Google Chrome.
That is the most popular way to browse the internet on a PC or a Mac. So a Google Chromebook is basically the idea of what if we had a device that was just for Google Chrome, just for browsing the internet, not worrying about the other apps and baggage that can come along with Windows or a Mac.
Okay, well, why would I want a Chromebook instead of a Windows PC or a Mac?
Well, good question. And for a lot of people, if you need a lot more power, if you're going to be running a lot of apps, then maybe Windows or a Mac makes more sense. But if all you're doing is getting on the internet, and you can get by with mostly a web browser and maybe a few other apps, then a Chromebook is really an easy way to do it. It's less expensive. The battery lasts a really long time. It's very easy to use, so it's something great for giving to your kids or maybe giving to somebody who's new with computers. For that reason, these have been very popular in the education market. You see a lot of classrooms and a lot of school systems that have kind of centered around Chromebooks. And it's really secure. There has never been a successful attack against a Google Chromebook. So there's no fear of viruses and hacks. Updates happen very quickly. And there's a lot of variety of different kinds of Chromebooks. You can see here we have a Chromebook that's a tablet. We have a Chromebook that's a laptop. You can kind of pick and choose the style that works well for you, but still have something that's really simple, really easy to use, really safe, and that lasts a really long time on a battery.
Well, are there any disadvantages to a Chromebook?
Well, of course, there's always downsides to anything. Chromebook really assumes that everything you do is online. It's what we call kind of a cloud-first device. So it assumes that everything you're doing, maybe your word processing, the files you're accessing, all of those are stored on the internet, or you're just browsing the web. You're doing the shopping, the social media, that sort of thing, which, truth be told, that's most of what we do nowadays. So with a Chromebook, you don't have the ability to run programs like you would on Windows or a Mac, not the same kind of programs. That's part of the reason why it's safer from viruses, but if what you're going to use the computer for requires an application that's only available for Windows or for the Mac, then of course Chromebook's not going to be a good choice. So if you require something like an accounting software or an artistic program, a Photoshop, something like that, that's only available for Windows or Mac, then maybe Chromebook's not right for you.
But how can I tell if something is a Chromebook?
Well, there's a couple of key indicators. One is it probably has a logo that says Google Chromebook on it, somewhere on the device. Sometimes it's more subtle than others. You can also tell by looking at the keyboard. So on these two Chromebook devices here, notice that where the caps lock key would be in a regular keyboard, we have a search button instead. Also notice that where on a Windows keyboard I might have a Windows key, or on a Mac keyboard I might have a Command key, there's none of those on here. Those are kind of the telltale signs that we're looking at a Chromebook. We'll also look at some of the other indicators on screen as well when we get into our other lessons.
So it sounds as if I'm doing most of my work on the internet, I'm doing email, and everything's going to be on the cloud, that the Chromebook might be a good choice. So how do I get started with it?
Well, the first thing you're going to need is a Google account. So let's look at how to set one of those up in our next lesson.